You are now tuned in to the Project365 experience.
Welcome back to the Project365 podcast. And boy, do we have a show for you. Starting off, we got an interview with Coach Irv and Coach Dave, two friends, coaches that are very, very, very close to my heart. I have to admit, you guys, I've been sitting on this episode for like almost a year. So I'm happy to finally bring it out to you guys. We basically linked up in 2019 and had like a crazy summer. So you're going to want to hear that. In our Chalk Talk section, we're going to talk about shooting and how can we make our shooting better because it's such an important skill in today's game. Anybody interested? Stay tuned for the Chalk Talk. And in our Brain Juice section, we're going to talk about habit stacking. I've been reading, Atomic Habit, and it's a skill that I've learned the importance of it, and I want to share my thoughts on it. So yeah, and without any ado, let's get in with our interview. These guys have to talk, man. We're gonna get a lot of stuff.
First off, let's get it.
Let's get it.
Yo, no, but obviously, thank you for making the time. You know, I had to get the first one with the original squad. Had to make it fun. You know, had to make it. This is the intro. Set the tone. You know, so
you have a name for it. You have a name for it?
365.
Oh, this is the podcast 365, you know?
This guy is versatile.
All the time. So what we're going to be looking at is we're just looking at, in general, it's not just going to be basketball, because I think like a lot of people kind of like get lost. And I know like as we'll get into some of that, but like as college athletes and stuff like that, we get into this space where like we just think about basketball. And then we don't realize that our skills are able to relate to these other things, right? So yeah. We'll get into the nitty gritty, but just give a quick intro, you know, for those who don't know who y'all are. I don't know who y'all are. I don't know who wants to go first.
Let DB go first.
Go ahead,
Irv. Irvin, Coach Irv, Montreal. From Rwanda, we met Vanier. We all had our own basketball journey. Sure. Then fast forward a couple years later, we all linked YMHA Wolves. Yes, then the accomplishments speak for themselves, so we won't get into that. That was all paved the way. We followed. Then incredible summer in 2019, and from there went on to Red Rush. Did a couple years there already. Time flies. Then above college, that's where I'm at now, coaching.
That's what's up. DB, let's get it. Sure. DB.
Coach DB, Coach Dave, Coach D, whatever you want to say. It's a pleasure being on here with you. You know, my
always guy. Pleasure.
Both of you guys. You know, started. Where you want to start? Started playing ball very young, super young. Probably like age 4. 2 older brothers got me into the game early. Which you guys started. What did we start? Started coaching. I started coaching because of you, actually. I remember where I was when we had that conversation. I was working. I was at work. You called me like it was probably 2-3 years ago. I'm like, coach.
Always been doing this recruiting.
I've been recruiting, man. I've been recruiting. So, sorry, keep going. Sorry.
Yeah. So but prior to that, you asked me years before that, and I was like, I always said, nah. You know, I got work to do. I got other things to do, whatever. But then when I actually, thought about it, I was like, yo, this must be fun. You know, so we started probably 2019 when I actually started my own coaching with you guys. That was probably the best summer I had as a young adult. Just leading young kids and having fun with my guys. So now to this day, we're all on our own path, trying to find our way into the industry.
Trying to get it.
It all started right here, yeah.
I want to know
just because I'm listening to you guys, because individually, you guys have had your own success, like playing, whether it's basketball, Irv, with Rwanda. I don't want to say it wrongly. Or
No, don't worry, don't worry.
Rwanda.
One down.
French accent came out.
One down,
Yeah.
one summer. It's all good.
And DB,
It's all
for those who don't know, the high school that Dave came from, that coach DB came from, I had the chance to go to Vanier, but it was always dogs that came out of there. It was a winning, like a high school. Went to Lauren Hill. It was a winning high school. You know what I'm talking about? So like, how do you kind of try to translate that success to like young players who, let's say, are just getting to know the game, right? Because it takes levels to it, right? So how did you guys get it?
You mean getting like to Vanya and things like that?
No, I'm just talking about like now you start coaching.
Okay,
You see what kind of success you can have. How do you break it down now to make like kids understand that they might not be able to understand that big picture, right? Because they're younger.
It's all about being patient. It's all about being patient, to be honest. You know, being 12, 13, even being 12 to 15 age is like that peak age where you want to learn everything at once. But you know what I mean, like, just if you have good people around you, like example you two guys that want to help in like extensive ways, then you're gonna get to where you want to get to. For me, I've worked with a lot of kids in the last 2-3 summers that most of them don't want to play at the NBA level or professional or even know what it is to get to that type of level. You know, I'm not promising any of these kids to say, oh, you're gonna get to this level, blah blah blah. Let's start where we need to start. If you're 12 years old, let's start by saying, oh, you know, you want to make your high school team if you're not already on your high school team, type thing. You know what I mean? Let's start slow. Let's not jump steps and just because what you see on TV, because now they see a lot like this, you know what I mean? They see a lot with the quick of, you know, they could do everything quick, YouTube, turn on the TV, turn on this, whatever they have. So everything comes at them quick. So just gotta be patient. You gotta understand what they want. You gotta understand what they want, and you gotta understand what it is that you're gonna do for them to make it work. You know what I mean? So it's all about patience. I'm not where I want to get to yet. I don't think all of us are, but we're working towards it. You know what I mean? So it's all about working and being patient with your process.
You know, something that we know, just to add to what DB said, everything is a result of hard work. And the thing is, basketball is going to teach you stuff. So the work ethic that you learn, let's say if you're around the right people, that's going to carry. So you carry it in, like we translate the same hard work that we're putting, the same hours that would be in the gym doing X, Y, Z. It could be ball handling, it could be shooting, it could be whatever. We just do film study. Then we do those conversations. Then you do those clinics and all things like that. You know what I mean? So it's the same thing. And kids need to understand, like, okay, you might not be a professional. And the thing being a professional is not just going to the NBA. You can be a professional in Europe. You can be a professional in Africa. But you can be a professional in whatever field you wanna get into. At the end of the day, we have the chance to mold young adults, children, to be successful leaders of tomorrow. That's how I would put it.
Yeah. And for sure, at some point, there's always like somebody that kind of like impacts you, that pushes you to want to be the best version of yourself. So I'm curious to know that, did you guys have any like a person or a role model that influenced you guys as you guys were growing up, like playing basketball?
For me, definitely my brothers. Having 2 older brothers is definitely, you know, a blessing. When you look at me being the youngest, it's you know, they're older and you're the youngest. That's just what it is. But now when I get to a certain age to realize things, it's always been a blessing to you know, just be around them, you know, playing ball in the driveway, you know, parents bringing us to games. You know, you guys know my parents, so you know what it is. Travel,
Yo,
AAU,
yo,
travel.
Davey's mom
Yeah, so
does
you know
not.
what it is.
Coach
Wow.
Dave's mom is the real MVP. I don't think she ever missed a game when we played together because we played together at Bay. I don't think she ever missed a game.
Nah, probably not, bro.
We had provincial like 5 hours away. She would be there. Look ahead, order hotels, man. That's real MVP. And when you see that support, because I think that's important too, because like even when we started coaching, I knew she was always there to support us and everything. And that support is important. Because you remember when we had games where some of our friends came to watch our players play.
Mhm.
Our kids actually felt good. They're like, oh, there's actually people cheering for us. Like people
Yeah.
actually care. Like, just that little like we're playing in a tournament. Like we're so used to always going over there, everybody's against us.
Mhm.
But now you go somewhere, it's like, yo, they're cheering. Yo, we just made a basket, they're cheering for us. Like
Mhm.
That narrative changed.
yeah,
The narrative
absolutely,
changed.
Absolutely, yeah. What about you, Irv?
I was actually thinking about it. I would say it's a group of people. I would say a lot of people, but I was always academically driven.
Mm-hmm.
Basketball was fun, and I'm kind of, those who don't know, I'm kind of crazy when it comes to work ethic.
Yeah.
I started late, so soccer was the first part. I started basketball late. Had success pretty fast,
Right.
and just went from there. The one thing that changed my vision of the game was
Mm-hmm.
going back home and play that summer in 2013, because their approach was totally different.
It's different.
Where
It's different.
especially at that time where let's say America was seen as like the
Mm-hmm.
athletic side of the game, fast space and all that, and Europeans were all IQ. So I was playing here, grew up in LaSalle since I moved to Canada, and we were, listen, you guys know who's coming from here,
Mm.
and I went back
The
there.
waters in the bill. Something in the water.
My skill set was more advanced than the guys down there, but I
Right.
honestly felt stupid. I felt stupid. I didn't understand the game within the game. You know what I mean? And coaches. So we had different coaches there. And what was beautiful is that all the local coaches that they're like trainings in Europe, but they always imported American coaches.
Right.
So that's how some guys would get their scholarship to get out and things like that. So I had the right balance, and from there, never looked back. Came back, Vanya. So that was you guys last year. I think there'd be one more semester always done.
Yeah.
When Vanya.
Yeah.
Then Vanya, I decided to take the other route, not play anymore, start coaching,
Right.
and we all met later. So I would say around that would made a big change. So that was Coach Shaq.
Yeah. Vanya was the time, man. Like I'm looking back and I ask myself these questions too, like let's be real, as teenagers, we always have this time where we're just like, oh, yo, coaches don't know how to play me, whether it's in high school, yo, they don't know me, but like now that I'm a little bit older and I'm putting accountability on that, there's a lot I could have done better.
100%, yeah.
There's a lot more I could have done better. Like now I understand and I'm trying to transmit that. And I don't know if that goes into your coaching. Like just going to your team practices is not enough. Like if you want to get better, you have to understand that you're trying to catch up to people. You're not going to get better through those team practices, right? So that period that we played, our playing days, right? I'm gonna call it playing days because me and DB, we were teammates. Coach Irv, we played together, but it was mostly like open gyms and things like that. But afterwards, we connected. But just like when you're looking back at your college days,
yeah,
what is like memorable about that? What do you guys remember? Like, what sticks back when you think back, Vanier? What sticks back?
Listen, so first thing first, Vanier was what's the term? People like to say powerhouse, but all sports. All sports.
True.
I went to a private high school where I can be the best basketball player there.
Right.
He goes, okay, you have elementary, you have high school, right? Well, you got thrown to Vanier where, listen, so big compared to a private school, and you see guys that are professional in football, guys that are very successful at basketball, and you're basically you're a number now, and you got to stand out. So it was pretty. Although I played in those like high places, whatever, I felt like it was overwhelming to walk in that first day and they'd say, "Oh, there's tryouts for Vanya. Just go and do it." Like, yeah, I know how to play basketball, but mentally, I wasn't there. I just went to it. I mean, it wasn't difficult on like the physical part is okay. If you're doing your preparation, it's okay. Then it's more the approach, because now, you know, we have a age difference. Coming straight out of high school, I didn't lift like that, and I know my first time I saw Tevin Walker, I was like, it didn't make sense in my head. You know, Mike Joe coming out of high school, and let's say I have to go against that, the same position, it didn't make sense.
Yo, that's, you
know,
great. Sorry, Irv,
so that was the reality check for me. Just being younger and knowing that now it's not U16, it's not U15, it's just open water, and you have to go and get it.
Yo, it's funny as you're saying that. I'm thinking about it. I don't think I ever consistently lifted in college.
No,
I had my little routine.
We didn't have like this consistent.
Right.
I mean, we as players, we didn't do it ourselves, but like, you know, if we had a better structure within the whole team that we had, I think maybe we could have been better doing that. But definitely it was on us to do more. Definitely, when I look back, definitely could have done more. You know, you love the game, you want to play the game, but there's so much more to just saying you're a basketball player, especially not being on the other side, being on the sidelines, whatever. So much more to just saying, you know, I'm a ball player. And,
so there's one thing that I always saying, and you know, when we look back at it's already multiple years ago, like, yes, we're more mature, but the one thing that I know we all try to make a conscious effort to change, because we didn't have that, is the communication aspect. So I know for me at Vanier, I'm 6'3", so at Vanier they asked me to play the 5 on D2, which to me, like, those years you could do that, but it didn't make sense for me, and I didn't feel like it was the best. And the thing is, let's say if the thought process, let's say a coach tells me this is why we want you to do that, and I can buy into it, then the outcome could have been different. You know, but being young, it's just like, oh, that's not the position that I want, I'm just leaving. You know, so that's why I know we've always been solid on communicating with the kids, you know, making sure we tell them, because we make decisions for us, but also what's best for them, you know.
It's crazy as you're saying that, like, because I had to play center, right? So when we
play the 5 too, and that's the thing.
Yo, I had to guard Chris Boucher. Provincial championships, like it, but I was never skilled enough to shoot from the outside. So here I am, no shot, trying to get putbacks over Chris Boucher. You know what I'm talking about? Like, it's like, but I'm seeing, like, my IQ wasn't there either. Like, I wasn't watching basketball like that either, right? Of course, I could have, like, had maybe more help, you know, like whether it's like a coach who just comes and tells me exactly what it is. But, like, I didn't have the IQ either. But, like, that's why I make it super obvious when I'm talking with players. I'm explaining it to them, even if they probably know. You get what I'm saying? Because, like, looking back at it, yes, I could have done more. If I knew what I knew now, I would be different back in CJ. 100% would be different.
100%.
But
100%.
It was weird because, like, as a young player, you're kind of stuck in this space where, like, when things don't go your way, you kind of complain. Or you don't actually try to find a way. But when you don't have somebody to give you guidance, like, it's hard. You know, so what do you guys think makes a great coach, like a great, if whether you want to be a trainer, whether you want to be a coach, let's even talk about schools, right? Your best teachers. What are qualities of, like, the best teachers, like best, you know?
like I said before, patience.
Mhm.
Patience. Bro. You have to be patient with a young, especially a young, like I said, 12 to 15-year-olds. And then when you start moving up 15, 18, like you have to have some type of patience with these kids. And you have to be able to talk to them. Not just basketball, but you have to be able to talk to them about, what they like to do on their free time. What do they do at 8:30?
Right.
8:30 on the Wednesday night. Like, what are you doing? You say you want to be great, but you know stuff like that. So it's just about getting to know these kids off the court. Trying to develop a relationship with the family and whoever else is in their life, and try to progress from there. But it takes, like, now knowing what we know now, it's way more than just putting the ball in the hoop. Like,
Dude, you said a big thing right there. I
you know
think
what I mean?
now the days of, hey, do it because I said so. You have to tell
Mhm.
people the why now. I think those days are done.
Yeah, you have to
So,
demonstrate.
Yeah.
and to kind of summarize that, like patience is a big key, but no ego as well,
Mm-hmm.
because we've seen, like, now the coaching style changes. At least that's what I see on my end. The coaches I'm around now are kind of different than coaches I had then.
Right.
So, like, I know personally, I never really picked up my phone and just message a coach like, what should I do? I would try to get as much information as I could from, like, older players and things like that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But if you have a coach, that's what he actually does, and is knowledgeable and things like that, that can help you go a long way.
Right. Right. Yo, let's get into it. We link up.
Let's go.
Our first coaching gig, summer 2019. Our first coaching gig together. What do you guys remember about it? What made it special? What made that group special? What do you guys remember from there?
Listen, I remember everything. Everything. That's how special that was.
That group was
Everything.
special. That group was special.
Yeah.
Talk to us. What do you guys? Yeah.
The one thing that we always, like, we don't always say, but you always say, like, okay, work hard. The one thing about that group, it was fun. And if you're having fun, it's way easier to work hard.
Summer.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. But we're fun though, so it's easy for the kids when you're around people that, have fun with it too, not just
if you don't think that's okay, my record, how many games did I win? Oh, but how much did I win this game? You know what I mean?
Right.
If you're all about building, that's where the fun is. That's what I enjoy personally.
I kind of like the dynamic because, like, looking back at it, I kind of like this idea that you have three people that you can talk to, right? So everybody can get their little can get some kind of contact with each player, right? And having three people that are kind of like on the same page, that kind of know, not kind of, that do know what they're talking about, for the general picture of the group. I think it really helped because I think we gelled at the right time. Like, yes, we're winning games early in the summer, but I think we really became good when we lost that tournament in Syracuse.
So before even going there, what was important? So we never coached together. Like, we all knew each other before, but we never coached together. And the structure was phenomenal. Where when we called timeout, so we had this whole, like, pregame thing. That was great by itself. Then whenever we called timeout, we had our huddle and the players are their huddles. And if you look at each of the kids that we had, they're all able to lead. Some decide to not do it, because they can be shy amongst new guys, but they all have leadership qualities, and that's what's important. And so we were winning here, which is okay. If you're doing your things correctly, you're able to get some wins here. Now going to the States, because that was, I think, for me, it was the first time I went back since I played.
Mhm.
So it was like I was
So-
disconnected to like what the game is like down there,
Yeah.
and we're able to compete. You know, going it wasn't the final.
Right.
In the final that we lost,
Yo, that big
I
man
don't
we
think
played
it-
against was not in 6th grade. I'm sorry. He was not in 6th grade. I am
probably
sorry.
not, probably not. But that was a nice tournament, and that's when we
That was fun, though.
clicked.
That was fun.
Yeah,
That was
fun.
fun, man. That was fun.
Yeah.
Yo, how many games we lose that summer? I think we lost like 3 games or something. Like I think we won like 30. How many games? Like 31-3 or something like that. And I think
Yeah.
we only went to the
What?
final.
Yeah. It has to be in the finals. I know the last one. No, we won the last tournament.
Yeah.
With
At the
Santex, the last one, right?
Yeah. We won that.
Yep.
Yeah. So I think whichever tournament we did before
Maybe
that,
2.
probably.
We might have lost 2
I
games.
think it's 2. We had one in Syracuse that we lost, and one tournament in Montreal, and the rest we won them.
What was the tournament in Montreal that we lost?
When we played
the Ottawa
that
team?
team from Ottawa. Yeah.
Oh, they were not missing.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
That
The
was
Express tournament. They
that
were
was-
not
Yeah,
missing.
that was Express. That
Yo,
was Express.
these guys were not missing. No,
So those
I
are
lied.
the only
We-
two.
Oh, that
I
was
like- No, I lied.
That wasn't
We
Express,
lost. We
though.
lost against Prospects. Yes, we lost against Prospects at crossover challenge.
Yeah. Well, okay. Yeah. Well, we broke.
Yeah, we
broke
lost
it down
3 games.
1-1 with them.
we
lost 3
Three
games.
games. That's right.
We lost 3 games.
So
It was
2
like-
here, 2
But it
here,
was
and
like-
It's the
1
next
there.
season. Oh, you talk about. Irv was with us at that time.
Oh yeah.
I was following out my Julie.
Exactly. Yeah. Prospects. Yeah, I remember
That shit was fun times, man. Is there one thing? Is there one thing though? Let's say take you back into the mindset of players. Is there one thing that you guys would go back? Like if you had to choose one thing that you could go back as a player, do, and that would make the whole difference. That could change the course of your career. I know what's mine.
Me? I know now the way that I know
what's mine.
I would speak, like I would ask questions
That's
directly to coaches.
That's what's up.
That's 100% what I would do.
That's what's up.
Because I'm too quiet usually and stuff like that.
Yeah. What about you, DB?
It's a good one.
Go back and it changes everything.
Probably just my own work ethic.
Work
Just
ethic?
off the court, doing my own stuff.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's one thing showing up to the gym. Yeah, you're nice for 15 years old, but
Right.
Stuff like that.
And even like as a practice, you come to your practices, you're not getting the shots that you want or whatever. For me, my thing, and I think it would really help me. So because I was never prepared for the games, sometimes I would go into games and I'd be like stressed out, right? You have to develop some kind of comfort going into a game. So for me, if I had to choose, remember we were talking about this, Irv, we were talking about this. We said, yo, the game would have been so easy for us if somebody told us, know what your spots are.
Oh, 100%.
If I developed some kind of comfort, I could enter a game with a completely different mindset. And now I'm seeing like mindset is like the key to this. Because now a player is going to go into a game when all fails. Think about it. When all fails, houses burn down, there's no water, there's no food. When everything fails, everybody as humans, we all go to our comfort spot. So if you're a shooter, you know what I'm talking about? If you're a shooter, you'll shoot. If you're a dunker, you'll try to jump over people,
So that's the thing. By asking questions like, I always worked on my spots. I didn't know that I was doing that. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So go do this, go get your shot there. Okay, but why? Like what is that? You know what I mean?
Right.
I would just go. I would go through the motion without really using my head.
Right.
And that would be enough, but it wasn't my best.
Right.
The one thing that we can all say, I don't know if you guys dealt with injury the way I did, but Nutrition.
Oh man, yo, nutrition. Now that I'm older, is this crazy? But I am the healthiest that I've ever been, and I'm older.
Yeah, 100%. But the funny thing is, we had a coach once. We had a coach once that sat us after practice and tried to tell us about nutrition. What did we do? Oh, we just laughed. We all laughed. The coach just said, "You guys are not serious." And the coach was pretty good. Came from the States and things like that. We didn't take it seriously. And listen, that was our loss, but that would have been definitely a game changer.
Right, for sure.
Definitely a game changer.
Let's get into some rapid fire. We have about. We're not gonna go too long. I don't know if you guys thought about this, so we're just gonna go starting five. Okay, your starting five. Who makes your starting five? Which basketball skills, if you have to make a starting five, which basketball skills would make your starting five? It could be a characteristic. It could be like
ball handling, shooting, passing. Does IQ count?
IQ counts. Yeah.
Just knowing the game, like just understanding your team, understanding the ones around you, understanding your coach who's asking from you.
Right.
So that's my five.
Okay. Let's go.
Listen, that comes from being us three together. So, first one is gonna be energy.
Okay.
Energy, that's a skill. Everybody can debate how they want. Energy is a skill. Because that's what you preach. So energy is one. Leader would be two. Footwork would be three. Shooting would be four. And ball handling would be five.
Nice.
Because passes will come regardless.
Right.
You're gonna rebound if you have energy. So everything else is covered.
It's covered. Okay. What about if you had to pick a AAU travel destination to go to? It could be a tournament, it could be a city.
So that's the other question. What's the budget?
You're starting five. Let's say you have any budget that you want, and you can go.
That's the dream in AAU. That's the dream.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Starting five.
Right now I'm going to Ontario. One.
Okay. Could be a city, could be another country, maybe if you guys want to do some sightseeing and stuff, if there's countries you wanted to go to, if there was an AU tournament, could be a vibe.
I would go. Oh, DB, you want to finish your list or are you still thinking?
Go ahead.
I'll go China.
Okay.
For sure, the culture is different.
Yep.
It's different. You're 12 hours difference. So let's say it's night, it's broad daylight for others. We have a game during the day. You want to text people, everybody's slipping back home.
Yep.
So China is gonna be one. I want to go. I've been to Qatar. Pretty sick place. So I would say Qatar or Dubai.
Yep.
That would be sick if we could do thing there. Hawaii for sightseeing.
Yep.
I believe everybody should go there.
Yep.
I would say anywhere in Africa because the length those guys have and the pure athleticism. So me, listen, I'm telling you something. I wouldn't get in the paint. You can have all the skill set. I'm not going in the paint. I would just shoot it. Because listen, they would have a 6'7". 6'7" though, with just no elbows above the rim. Like, what am I supposed to do?
Yeah.
So that, and the last one, it would be a place like Rutgers Park. Okay.
If you have an AAU. Okay.
Where people don't care who you are, like who you are. They don't care.
Right.
Your game needs to speak for itself.
That's what's up.
So I think I would do 5 things like that.
That's what's up.
Exotic like that? Honestly, I said Ontario.
Yep.
I think the ball right now there is growing to where it should be.
Right.
Probably Europe.
Okay.
Probably pick, wherever in Europe, just
Okay.
to see what's going on over there.
Yeah.
Maybe it's big on history.
Yeah.
We see it, no, but we see it from afar. We see these guys come. We watch it on TV, but we don't really know what's going on over there, why they're so, how talented they are and stuff like that. So that would be dope.
Right.
And then just Hawaii would be dope.
Yeah.
That would be dope.
Yeah.
And then probably just, places I haven't been in the States. I'll say like Portland.
Nice.
Yeah. They got that Nike
Portland's
factory
clean.
there.
I heard good stories. I heard Portland's clean. DB likes to
What wine you drinking if you go there?
Yeah, and there's wine too.
We got that, that Nike factory over there.
Oh yeah. True.
Yeah, that is solid.
DB's very simple. DB's very simple.
Yeah.
Okay, and last.
What about you? What's your fault?
Me?
Because I know you got a crazy.
Hawaii,
part.
definitely. I would love to go to Vegas for an AU tournament.
True, Vegas.
Let me see. Florida, Cali, and if I could have a last tournament, I'll go to a tournament in Australia. I heard they got big snakes though, so depends how big. Okay. Lastly, NBA team league passes to watch. Favorite teams to watch.
Right now, teams or just all time?
Yeah, right now.
Teams that play now?
Yeah.
Right now, Hornets.
Mm-hmm.
Hornets. I like the Jazz. I like how the Jazz play.
Yeah.
Wizards.
Yeah.
Brooklyn.
Yeah.
And then I like Portland. I like Portland.
That's what's up.
Portland.
That's what's up. You got it, Irv. What about you?
I go with Portland.
Yep.
Good. Let me rephrase that. I go Melo's team.
Yep.
Whatever it is, I'll be watching.
Yeah.
Yep.
Dallas.
Yep.
The team I like to watch. Nets, of course. That's in a lot of Hornets game.
Yep.
And before injuries, Lakers for sure.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
It's just injuries, but Lakers.
For sure.
So that was the five I was constantly watching this season.
That's what's up. Final 2 minutes, guys. First of all, thank you so much for you guys clearing your busy schedule. I know how it is. You guys have any final thoughts, any words of advice for young hoopers who might be hearing this, who might want to be pushing for that dream?
With the pandemic, whoever is in Montreal, at least with the pandemic that just happened and things like that, I believe now, especially high schoolers, now it's their chance. If you have one more year, put your all in it, because the Division 1 in CJAP, Division 2, like, we don't know where the balance is, because you're taking guys that you haven't really seen playing in 2 years. Facts. You know what I mean?
Facts.
So now your opportunity is huge. Just take advantage of it.
Right. DB?
I would say seek your resources. Using people around you. Let people help you. Don't be stubborn at a young age. I know we're all guilty of that. Just work on your game too. Like, don't just show up to the gym. Like, you gotta work on your game. Do your own stuff. Don't make excuses. You don't have a hoop at home. You don't got this. You have a basement. You have a floor. You have a sidewalk outside. Take your ball and go work on your game. Do the things that you say that you want to do on your own time. Then show it when it comes to when you're around your peers and stuff.
That's what's up.
Okay, chalk talk. So we were talking about shooting. So shooting is one of these skills that is super important in today's game. And how can you challenge your shooting? As a basketball player, that's one of the skills that you want to be able to have. But how do you, I'm going to give you some tips on how you can make your shooting a little bit better. Okay, so number one, I think when you first start, I think it's about the form. You want to get your mechanics down, right? So what I mean by mechanics is there's a certain foundation to your shooting that I think you have to constantly do and don't worry about the results yet. You're still trying to rep out the skill. Okay. So the number one thing you have to really be conscious about is you gotta take shots on balance. The more unbalanced shots that you could take, the higher your percentage is going to be. I think that's the main skill. After that, I'm just gonna go into your mind, right? Like, don't worry. Everybody got different type of shots. Everybody's shooting is a little bit different, right? I think the main thing is being on balance. Of course, there are some other things that you can focus on. I am no shooting expert, but make sure you get the balance. And the next thing is, don't compare yourself to other people. I made this mistake growing up where I thought that I had to make my shot look like this certain player. I had to try to do, and I would listen to my friends, and then they would tell me, yo, your shot's supposed to look like this. Like, really like lock in on what it is that, because what I've always been told is that shooting has to be natural, right? You don't want it to seem like you're fighting when you're shooting. It has to be natural. Like, you want to imagine like the shot comes from your feet, one motion all the way into your upper body, and you really want it to be like a one motion thing, right? So anything that you could get it to really be effortless, I think those are some of the things that you have to be looking forward to for you to be able to make your shooting better. Okay. And when you rep out those skills, that's when you can kind of like go on different spots, slowly work your way back. Okay. A lot of people go into the gym and they start shooting threes right away. If you don't have the mechanics properly, what you'll start doing is you'll start compensating. But what I mean by compensating is you're going to change your form because you're going to be so conscious that you want to make the shot. So you kind of want to put yourself in a situation where you're comfortable enough and you slowly work back. And the biggest thing is it takes time. All right. It takes time. Don't go right away to the 3-point shot, especially if you're not a shooter, right? Start off a little bit closer. Make sure you get those reps and slowly build your way back up. Okay. So now you're repping. You feel like you got your mechanics down. What is the next thing that you could do? Well, find different ways for you to challenge. Okay. So you hear coaches talk about this a lot. Coaches say, we want you to take game shots, right? But what are game shots? What do we mean by game shots? I think what we have to really take into consideration is when you're shooting, just regular catch and shoot are not going to translate to the game. Now, what do I mean by that? Is that if I just have a partner pass me the ball and I'm just going in rhythm and I'm shooting every single time, that is not going to simulate what I might see in a game, right? Because think about a game, there's pressure, right? There's a defender coming at you. There's time, there's a shot clock, right? There's the fans yelling at you. Like, there's a lot of different things, right? So you're not always going to have that rhythm. So I'm going to give you some tips. I'm going to give you some little ideas that you could think about when you're going to shoot in the gym with one of your partners, or even if you go by yourself. Okay. Try to mess up your rhythm. Okay. What I mean by that is if you could have somebody pass you the ball at different timings, not necessarily always at the same time, that kind of makes you lock in on the skill of shooting. Okay. So what I mean by that is just make sure that you're not always getting the same rhythm all the time to get your shots. Okay. Next thing you could do is put some time and try to get as much points, like if let's say I'm shooting mid ranges, right? I could put, let's say 30 seconds on the clock and try to shoot as many mid ranges as possible and try to beat that score, right? So time and score are a great way for you to be able to challenge yourself, because those are stressors that you put on yourself, on your mind, and it forces you to have to lock in, right? To be able to make the next shots. So something to think about. And the next one that I'm going to think about is try to put a physical tax on your body. So what's a physical tax? Something that I used to do is I would do a set of 17s, right? 17s is touching sideline to sideline, and then I would go shoot, right? So me not being completely 100%, excuse me, me not being completely 100% forces me to have to lock in on that skill. Damn. Sorry. me not being 100, sorry about that. Me not being 100% fresh simulates the game a little bit more because you got to think when you're going to be in the fourth quarter, you're going to be tired, right? How are you going to make that next shot? Yeah, so just some things you could take into your next session and work on your shooting. Okay, so in our brain juice section today, we're going to talk about a skill called habit stacking. So I've been reading Atomic Habits and habit stacking. Now, what is it? Do not quote me on this. It's not the technical term, but how I understood it is do one skill that's going to automatically lead into another, right? And by you stacking those skills together, you end up having a chain reaction of good skills that you end up really benefiting from. So here's what I mean. If I'm going to work out, right? I'm going to work out, and then afterwards, when it comes time for me to eat, right? If let's say I want to work, if let's say I want to lose weight, let's say my goal is to lose weight, right? If I work out, naturally what's going to happen after I'm done working out is I'm going to be hungry. So then when I'm going to go look for my food, I'm naturally going to tend to go for food that is more healthy because I won't want to mess up my workout. So see, here I have stacked two skills that are ultimately leading me to me wanting to be a healthier person, right? Another example, if I'm trying to think of one off the top of my head. Let's do this. Let's say if I'm a student athlete, okay? And I know I want to play basketball so bad, right? But I know I have to pass my classes. So I can do my homework and reward myself with basketball afterwards. So I could tell myself, okay, I'm going to finish one page of this report that I have to do. And then I'm going to go train, right? So me being a student athlete really comes together because I'm stacking the two skills back to back, okay? Now, here are different ways that you can actually go about it. When you wake up in the morning, right? Do something that you love first. If let's say you have to wake up early in the morning, right? Make sure that the first thing that you do is something that you love, because then you're going to look forward to waking up and it's going to be easy for you to get your day rolling. So if I'm somebody who loves coffee, when I wake up, I'm going to make coffee. And then automatically that me making coffee is going to lead to my day starting. And then I'm going to want to not mess up the flow of my day. And I'm just going to try my best to keep doing the best habits that are going to be reflecting of what a good day is for me, right? Something else you could do. If let's say I have a task, right? If let's say I have 3 things I have to accomplish today, right? I'm going to take the hardest one of those and I'm going to do that one first. So what that does for me is instead of doing the easy ones, if let's say I have 2 that are easy, I'm doing the easy, and I have to look forward to the hardest one, I might get discouraged, right? But if I start with the hardest task, what ends up happening is I'll have the hardest, and then I'll have this feeling of being so accomplished that the 2 easy tasks are going to be easier to knock off my list, right? It's another way for you to look at it. And yeah, lastly, I think do something that's going to lead to naturally another good habit. Okay, so I'll take the example of if I have to go to the gym, and if let's say the gym is walking distance from where I have to be, let's say I could take a 20-minute walk, right, to walk to the gym. Well, I know I have to work out. I know I have to get there. So if I walk to the gym, I'm actually getting a double. I'm actually getting a bigger bang for my buck, because now I'm walking, I'm getting extra cardio in, I'm getting extra miles in, right? And I'm going back to the gym. So now you put yourself in a situation where you did one thing that's leading to the next one. And then the snowball effect just keeps going. So you keep stacking those days. And now imagine if you walk to the gym, you work out, you walk back home, and you make yourself a healthy meal. Now you did 4 things that are going to lead to you that's going to lead to you, if your goal is to be a healthy person, that's going to lead to you being a healthy person. So I've just been fascinated about habit stacking. And again, I'm still learning. And I thought it was something that you guys might enjoy. So yeah. All right, guys. Thank you. Thank you so much for tuning in to this week's show. If you enjoyed it, please leave a comment. Leave a rating on we're on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. So please leave a rating. It helps people find the podcast. The more rating that we could leave, the better it's going to be. Share this with somebody if you feel like it could help somebody. And yeah, looking forward to it. One thing that I'm going to be looking forward to do is, if on social media, you guys could shoot me DMs, you guys could comment under pictures. Let me know if you guys have any questions that you guys would like me. I would love to open up a fan email in next week's show. So on that note, this was the Project 365 show. I'll catch you guys on the next one.